And that's it in Hyde Park. That's as close to the Queen I'll ever come until I go to her grave sometime. And she's heading off there to Windsor, to the west, 17 miles west. Part of me believes I should have gone to Windsor. So been in the park for hours. So a funeral began about 11, finished at sort of 11:55. A body was removed from Westminster Abbey. It took over an hour to process up to Hyde Park Corner. And then it was no longer on the gun carriage. It was put into that hearse and driven towards Windsor Castle. There'll be a committal service this evening, 6:30 this evening at Windsor Castle. The moral of the story is when King Charles dies, to go to Windsor Castle. But the crowds won't be so dense for him as they are here. Bear in mind, I'm actually several miles out from where the funeral actually took place. And there'll be a private ceremony this evening, just for the family, away from the cameras, where they actually put the body into the vault. The Queen's coffin lowered into the vault beside her late husband, Prince Philip, who died last year, April last year, and more VIPs, Royal Protection Officers. What, another hearse? Yeah. And the question is, how do we actually get out of here? So we're in Hyde Park. The police outriders, and it was quite close to the Albert Memorial. So, and the weather smiled in it actually. It was looking decidedly overcast this morning. A lot of people arrayed in black. So I can't say there was a terribly mournful atmosphere. Most people were mourners, strictly speaking. A death at the age of 96 was certainly not unexpected. It wasn't a shock. The difference between her funeral and that of Princess Diana a quarter of a century ago, almost exactly, could scarcely have been greater. So it was a bank holiday. So of London's 10 million population, most of them were on the streets or in the parks, lining the processional route. Obviously, hundreds of thousands of people came from the rest of the United Kingdom and tens of thousands from overseas to pay their last respects to Her Britannic Majesty. This is the greatest funeral of all time. There's never been a funeral surpassed by it in numbers of the heads of state who attended, in the millions of mourners, in the hours of television and so on, the live television coverage. She was the most photographed person of all time, partly because she lived in the photographic age. Also, she reigned for 70 years and so forth, reigned over 14 realms in the end. Many more realms she had towards the beginning of her reign, such as Pakistan and so on, Trinidad and Tobago, which declared republics after some time. So now it's breaking up on people going back. The part of me that wishes I'd gone to Windsor to see the procession there, but the crowds would not have been so dense. I did have that option. Anyway, I saw something. I saw a hearse whiz by. I did actually set eyes on the Queen twice in my life. Once in 2002 on the Mall, part of her Golden Jubilee celebrations, when she was in a hot white suit as she sped past in an open Range Rover. And the other time, in the year 2000 at Royal Ascot, when I was about 10 metres away from her, when she came out with the last Empress of India, and there was spontaneous outbursts of applause. So my eye fell upon her, and that's as close as I've come to communing with her. I suppose I met her son, Prince Andrew, met her grandson, Prince William, shaking his hand. So that's how I have some sort of indirect physical contact with her. All right, that's enough, everyone. So here we are at the Albert Memorial, and you see the dense crowd breaking up. It was at least 5 people deep where I was, overlooking the processional route. But if you wanted to get close to Westminster Abbey, you had to get there hours before, days before. People had camping chairs were there overnight. People brought little tents. I'm not joking. Right, that's perhaps enough from Hyde Park, London.